Hi, this is Jack Downs. Welcome to 317, and I'm glad you're watching this on your snow day. This is a good way to slowly start the course. Not a lot going on yet, but please do review this video and my email to be ready for our second class on Wednesday to really hit the ground rolling. And I'm going to begin today by saying, my name's Jack Downs. We have a very small class, probably only 8 or 10 people. We won't have a teaching assistant, but we'll have an opportunity for lots of individual work as time goes along. And let's take a look at some of the documents I am reviewing for you, as this covers what would be our first class session. First of all, let's take a look at the Brightspace site. And let me just say right off the top that in some handouts, occasionally you may still see the word Moodle, and I might even say it. If Moodle is mentioned anywhere, it means Brightspace. That's the old system. This class has been around for a while, but it's dramatically updated with a brand new, well, a significantly updated textbook for this semester. This is the first semester for it. So quite a few changes, and I apologize at the beginning if there's any confusion that results from those changes. But if we look at the Brightspace site, you should be prepared to spend a lot of time here. You go to the daily schedule, as I will do most days, and you can look at the daily schedule and syllabus. The complete syllabus is here, and you should review it because you'll be held to everything in it. I'm not going to give you a paper copy, but it is right here, the complete syllabus. But the syllabus summary is here, which is the high points, and you'll see here that there's no teaching assistant. Our classroom is in 115 Ward. My office is like right upstairs. I do have office hours. I still think it's best to see me before or after class, or to email me for an appointment. But I'm in the building a lot. You can stop by and see me if you wish. Right now, what do you need? You need to get the textbook, for sure. Learning Web Design. It's a giant book. You're definitely gonna you're gonna spend a lot of time in it. There's gonna be some exercises you'll do right from the book, but it's not that kind of class. I have a lot of my own exercises, so you're expected to do the reading. Can you get the digital copy and so on? Could you rent it? So on? Yes, true. If you plan to take an advanced web design course, you're really gonna want to have this book and keep it, because there's a lot more stuff in it than we're gonna do. And I think it's a great textbook. So you get the textbook. Do you have to bring to class every? Let's just hold off on that. It's just awful big and heavy about the bringing to class. You'll see that other places too. Let's hold off on that. You do need to have a drive, a flash drive, a storage device, a USB storage device. It says labeled for this class. However, you could use, if you have a lot of space on a large drive, you could use it for this class and something else. I'm not going to collect the drives. You need a notebook and a binder or something to keep track of handouts. There'll be a lot of handouts. Most of the handouts will also be here, though, on Brightspace. You're going to need soon, not like today, to have your own copy of a code writing program. In the classroom, we're going to use Notepad++ on the lab computers. I use Notepad++. It's available for free, but there's other options, especially if you have a Mac. I don't think you can use Notepad++. But there's lots of other options and free ones and so on. You'll have information about that. So just be prepared. You're going to want to have your own copy of the software. Although you could just work in labs too. Grades. So you have one big project, which is going to begin within a couple of weeks at the start of the semester, and will go throughout the semester, and will be fully half your grade. That's the big thing. Then there's lots and lots of quizzes and homeworks and lots of things like that. They're going to be 40% of your grade, and a final exam 10. Actually, you know what? I'm wondering if those numbers are quite right, because I believe I threw in attendance. Yes. There is an attendance also grade in here. I'll have to look those numbers over. I'll get back to you on those if they're not quite right. Maybe it's 50, 35, and 5, and 10, or something like that. But it's still about half your grade is from this. So attendance is very important. This is Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. You're going to be tempted to skip some Fridays. This class, I don't think there's a whole lot done any particular class, but it all builds. If you miss one or miss two, It's really hard to catch back up with that building process. So please come to every class. Attendance is required. You will lose points for not attending. Unexcused absences. One unexcused absence is allowed without penalty. What do you have? Sports. You have to get approval in advance. But yes, we'll work it out. If you get sick, document it and send it to me. But still, I'm going to be very particular with absences. But if you talk to me about it ahead of time, we can work it out. Participation will be tracked. Reading, please don't neglect it. No texting or phone use in the classroom unless you get approval from me in advance because there's some special reason. Cheating is severely punished. We do not use AI of any kind in this class. So there you go. And that is in the syllabus too. And the syllabus has more detail. The full syllabus has more detail. Okay, so that's the daily schedule. So that's something to look around for here. Also, you'll see there's kind of like a first assignment. If you go to the other class resources and links, there's a student forum here. And here, I've already posted in here a discussion question for you to introduce yourself. This is kind of required as participation, but it's just take a minute or two. Don't tell us anything you don't want us to know. But introduce yourself and potentially lurk around and comment on anybody else if you wish. But it's not a true grade there. It's just participation. So that would be nice to do that, please. Again, no big deal. Other class resources and links. So you should go spend some time on the site in general. Sample resumes from past semesters is going to be very useful. You want to look at that to see what did Li Ching Heng do. This was her final project. How did it work? How did it look? You'll want to look at all those things. So that is a link from inside Brightspace to resumes, sample resumes from past semesters. I have a bunch of YouTube tutorials, which I'm probably going to be updating. The code editors I mentioned about some code editors you might get. There's some CSS patterns there. Yes, Dreamweaver tutorials, a whole bunch of stuff. SUNY Create Cloud. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that. These are all kind of like on the extra stuff, the student forum being there. What about resources, handouts, presentations? Well, that's where you find all the class handouts, including something called Website I Like, which I'll get to in a moment, which is sort of due for next time. And then there's a link here called 317 Assignment Resources on Google Drive. So Google Drive works a lot better for like things I need to give you for assignments and so on. So I also have readings. In the readings folder, you're going to see a Learning Web Design Chapters 1 and 2 PDF. That is the first and second chapters from our textbook. So if you don't have our textbook immediately now, you can start doing the reading already. Okay, good. So that's one thing there. Presentations are here too, which I do in class, and I'll be updating that. Resources for assignments, even perhaps more important. This is where you're going to find, like I'm going to tell you when we're doing the Black Goose assignment, you're going to download those files and use them in class or for homework or something. So this Google Drive has got lots of stuff like that on it that you're going to be using. So that's the assignment resources on Google Drive, which is available. The link to it is on Brightspace. And everybody should at least go look at that and make sure it works for you, that the sharing of the drive works properly for you. So please do that. Okay. What else is here? That's other class resources. Table of contents, assignments. This is the class handouts, the assignment resources, including the Google Drive link is there. There is a assignment uploads, like of course for like things you're going to load up here, the assignment uploads of things that are due, like Dropboxes. So, and I guess that's about it for the schedule. But I did tell you I was going to show you one other thing, which is kind of due next time. It's not for grades. Don't get upset. It's sort of, it'll be applied to the first quiz. In a class handout, it's called Website I Like. Okay. Website I Like assignment. It says it's due before the start of class Wednesday. We're having a weird start of the semester. If for some reason you needed more time with it, okay, but there's not really any reason, I don't think. I want you to find a website that you like. Good. And tell me about it in writing, in an email to me. It's just not any website. It has to have some kind of information content, but it doesn't have to be a traditional journalistic site or something. I don't want everybody sending me the New York Times. So it doesn't have to be connected to a traditional media company. It doesn't have to be a news website. It has to be something that is informative in some way, but geez, I guess that could be almost anything. It must have some journalistic aspect. In other words, it has to be covering a topic in some way. That's, as I said, not much of a requirement. It has to be something ideally that you think is attractive and well designed. It has to be something that you actually use. I don't want anybody, don't send me social media sites. Don't send me necessarily traditional media sites unless you really do use it and like it. It must be a site you think is easy to use, some site that works for you. It's not just because you like the topic. Let's say you're really into 80s rock, and there's this, so you go to this site to listen to old 80s rock or something like that, and it's a clunky site, doesn't work very well, but it's just because that you like the topic, you're into it. Well, let's not use that one then. Let's try to find something you think really works well as a website, that you would like it. Maybe the kind of site you would like to build if you were a professional web designer. I love to see sites that I've not seen before. So if it's a niche unusual site, that's fine too. So just send me a link to the site, and then 1 or 2 short paragraphs explain why you like it, what you think makes it work, is well designed about it, and so on. And then include your name. Send this assignment to me, my email address. Hopefully send it before class on Wednesday. It will be used towards your grade in your first quiz. Please put the subject line in the email be website I like, and then your name. So it doesn't have to be a Google Doc, or don't share docs with me or whatever. Just put this stuff into the body of the email. And again, it doesn't have to be, don't write an essay. It's really just a couple of short paragraphs. That might be 4 sentences or something like that. Okay, so that hopefully email that to me. That is an early assignment. Okay, so I've done all that stuff. I think that's pretty much all I would do, except hand out some stuff the first day, get the textbook, and also I want to tell you that. Oh yeah, I want to explain that this course is accessible to anybody. It is an introductory course, but it's a 300 level course, so you can expect it to have a lot of work and to be doing something after every class. There'll be something to do. So you got to stay on top of it. But as I said, I don't think any single piece of it is that big a deal. I am available to help you out, so please think about that. All right. I do accept late work, but let's try to avoid it when possible. But I can be flexible about things if you're having problems. But again, you're not using any AI. You're not really using any authoring tools, except maybe at the very end of the semester where we might use Dreamweaver. You're going to be learning the hard way, we would call it, the most direct and manual way, HTML and CSS, because most experts still agree that's the best way to know it. And we might get into a little JavaScript if we get there. The book is going to be very necessary, and commitment to the class. I think the people who do best in this class are those who really commit to the topic and don't try to skirt around the edges. You got to really jump into it. Kind of like jumping into a foreign language, I would say. It works best if you can kind of immerse yourself in it. Well, that works for this too. But if you're a technophobe, if you're not that great with computers, if you feel uncomfortable with this idea of like programming language, this is not a programming language really, unless we get to JavaScript a little bit, but that's at the end of the semester. Well, please realize everybody who's tried this and committed to it has been able to do this course. But it is true, it's harder for some people than others. Like some of you might be computer science majors. Well, this might be a bit of a breeze. But at least I think you'll pick up some things that will be useful. And some of you are journalism majors, and maybe not that technically adept. If that's the case, you'll still be able to get it, but it will take a little bit more concentration of time. Finally, let's talk about something completely different. I'm mentioning my first classes to people. Hey, I am the advisor for 2 student publications here. And in the journalism program, we have 3 student publications. And all of our student publications are available to all students in all majors. But we really need staff in them. And being on a student newspaper or magazine can be great for your resume. If you like to write, if you like to photograph, if you want a creative outlet, if you want to work with a team of students building something together, not required for class, but still useful, you could join, for instance, Cardinal Points. Let me bring that up. Cardinal Points is the student newspaper. This is their website. We will get started again at the start of the semester pretty soon with new content. We put stuff on, we build this website and publish stuff. We also actually paginate and make a newspaper, some occasionally, which is printed, but not all the time anymore, but maybe more in the future. So you get to learn about the campus, you get to work with people, you get to do cover sports if you want, or cover arts if you want, or write opinion pieces if you want. So that's a great possibility. And you would contact me because you'll need help registering if you're not a journalism student. And if you are a journalism student, you should be in one of these publications. I will remind, and I'll tell everybody, hey, we got 2 more publications. APN, All Points Now, is a kind of a lifestyles-based publication for young adults. It's online only, not printed. These are some of the stories they've done. You see the topics are health and fitness, style, food and drink, arts and culture. It's a little bit more alternative story formats. There's some opinion piece writing too, but there is some journalism too. In all these cases, you should expect, if you're a writer for one of these, yes, you do have to interview some people and have a story idea and write it. Have you not done that before? Are you afraid of the idea, but you're kind of interested and want to try it? This is a great place to learn with other students, some of them who are just getting started too. Cardinal Points are All Points Now. And this, I'm not the advisor for All Points Now anymore, but I can help you get registered for that, and it's one of our publications. I am, though, for something called Due North. Due North is a tourism magazine, and this actually is a hard copy glossy magazine, although I'm showing you the website that they do. It's a tourism magazine that is published through the Chamber of Commerce here, and it's a very much a high quality magazine. If you want to do some magazine work, my link is not working here. If you want to do some magazine work, this is a great place to do it. So I encourage you to. It usually take a little more experienced writers, but we can definitely work with anybody. So if you want to work on writing real magazine pieces that really get printed in a glossy magazine, maybe I'll bring you a couple of copies of this latest magazine here that we had into class. That's another option for you. So think about Due North magazine. Okay, so there we go. I hope that answered some questions and got the ball rolling. So if you have any questions, email me. So that's going to be the best way to get a hold of me. And I'm looking forward to having class with you. And I will see you at our first real class on